everybody. Hi, welcome to Transgurus. Beginning of 2021, I wish you all a beautiful, fantastic year. It is going to be a great year for everybody. And to start the year, we've got a theme which is actually quite important for transgender people. It's called, transgender employment and opportunities in general. Some of us here are self-employed, so we cannot only talking about employment, but self-employment opportunities as a transgender person. So I will start. Oh God, someone went away, but I will start.
There was noise in the background, so I had to silence it.
Reality of life. Noise in the background.
Remember to have our phones turned off. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Let me do that.
I will start by telling a little bit of my story. So about 6 years ago, I changed. I had my transition. And of course, whatever you do, income is still a very important point for your life. And I had my own company. So in the first year, I was already living as a woman, but when I went on to visit customers, I actually would put my male, I would say, theater. In the beginning, nobody really noticed. It was quite all right, well, I was living as a woman, sometimes working as a man. In the beginning, you still pass. With the time, when you get more and more hormones, passing is kind of reducing. And you get into this zone where nobody really understands what you are. But most people don't give a freaking damn. It really depends what you do. But my job was actually to visit customers, and most of my customers are very conservative people. So I had one or two comments like, what's this, Another issue is that my customers are all over the world. So America, USA is still a very open place. But if you go to Ecuador or Peru, people are very conservative and they ask questions in a much more complicated way. And many of these people are really quite transphobe. So it was for me very important that not only for my own business, it was important that I would, play the role. So when I started, I openly came out as a woman. Oh my God, I was so freaking nervous. I thought my business is going to stop. Everybody's going to kill me. Nothing of that happened. As a matter of fact, many of the people I know all over the world, they wrote to me and they say, my God, you are so courageous. We admire you because of your courage. Sometimes I had to deal with people which I knew for 20 years. And I had the guts to come as a woman. And you know what? They accepted me. They said, it's up to you. It's your life. And we accept you. It's all right. We admire you. Okay, when you go to certain countries, as I was telling before, you have to pass. And passing is not only the way you look. It's your papers. It's your clothing. You can pass and still not be regarded by the, what do you call it, by our industrial community as being passable. Many cis women will probably go there and they will not be passable, not because they are transgender, but just because they don't fit the norms. And it is something that everybody has to understand. Everything is relative in life. And being passable is very, very relative. If you are like me, a director of a company, and you're going to see, very large corporations, you have to fit even the clothing that they see as correct. If you are not in this case, it's different. You always have to adapt. Anyway, the other thing is papers. Don't forget, when you get into the plane, there's the TSA, and the TSA, they can be pretty, you look like a woman, you've got the papers of a man. It is an issue. It is an issue probably within the United States, but it is even a bigger issue in some countries. Some countries, they will not even accept you in their country because, you don't fit the norms. So all these little things actually are the passable and to fit the norms of the society that you're working in. I have to say, I know many transgender people. I know some people at NASA, extremely intelligent, really incredible people. I know people which are not in the NASA, and they are still transgender, and they are still beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I just want to point that employment for transgender people can be at any level. Some transgender people are particularly intelligent and good at what they're doing. And you see them in many, many, many very good positions. Well, let's put it this way. You probably don't even notice they're transgender, because I know many, many, many transgender people which have gone stealth. That means they don't show that they are transgender. In my business, I have 2 transgender women, which I know that they are transgender, and they know that I am transgender. But it's kind of our little, thing. They don't tell that they are transgender to everybody. And you don't have to, really don't have to. One thing which is very important is the transitioning while you're working. The transition period while you're working is something which is quite complex. And usually it needs some support from the HR people of the company you're working for. It is possible. More and more today, there's such a lot of companies which are open to transgender people. Thank God. And we hope that the future for our transgender community, that they have honest and good opportunities in their normal daily life. It's so important. This was not always the case. Never forget, 30, 40 years ago, you probably would go to prison because you had the clothes of another gender. And some of the people here know about it pretty nicely. So, so this is my contribution. So I'm going to give it to Bonnie because I think Bonnie's got quite a lot of interesting things to say.
Well, thank you. And I want to wish everybody a happy new year.
Oh,
And on this and on the subject, I love your hair, but on the subject
He's good.
of what we're talking about, employment, and it was talk about passing, and there was talk, all that is noise. I'm going to explain where I'm coming from. It's all about perspective. If you're going to go out and try to find a job, first of all, whether you pass or you don't, there's a couple ways of looking at it. And we said we were going to turn phones off, but I guess that didn't happen.
Sorry.
But anyway, what I'm just trying to say is, if you go dressed like a clown and you look like a clown, you're not going to be accepted or taken seriously. Now, if you feel good about yourself, I like me, you'll like me. And if you come across with a positive energy of liking yourself, regardless whether you pass or not, but you give off a positive energy. And let's say if you're male to female, your hair looks somewhat normal, and your makeup, I mean, you don't have lipstick that goes all the way up to the bottom of your nose. And I mean, what I'm trying to say is, it's important that maybe you're a plain Jane, maybe you're whatever, but have moderation. And when you go out there and you meet people, feel good about yourself, present yourself, and there's no need to feel like you have anything you should feel bad about. Because let me tell you, everybody's got their problems and their issues. And if somebody wants to act like whatever, you got to realize people will try to make you feel bad to make themselves feel better with themselves. So if you realize where people are at, and if you conduct yourself in a fashion, and you try to do things orderly and not be over the top. I mean, I see some people that they dress that it's like everybody that's around is going to notice them because they're attracting attention. What you want to do is you want to just blend. You want to fit in. You don't want to stand out. I mean, if you're looking for attention, well, go stand out on the corner with a sign. But I mean, if you're really looking for a job and you really want to fit into this world and fit in a situation where you can be comfortable, you got to remember, COVID, it sucks, but everybody's got Zoom. People are working from home. A lot of people that are transitioning, and on Trans Gurus, we're going to try to put up where people can actually, eventually we're going to get a website and it'll be on there. But what we're going to try to do is get people that have jobs. We know a few people that have jobs that are looking for people in sales, and the transgender community would fit perfect. And so we're going to try to share that. And we're also going to try to share where if you have a job and you can hire somebody that's transitioning or has transitioned or whatever, they'll have an opportunity. But all that's great except for one thing. If you don't feel good about yourself, all that is just a bunch of noise. If you go at a job, it's like this. If I say to you, you have to go out and clean your car and you hate it, you don't want to do it. I mean, it's like, oh, please, no. And then you go out there and you say, I'm going to go out there and clean my car and make it look really, really good. Who's going to get the better job? The person that wants to do it because they love what they're doing, and the person that hates what they're doing, it's going to not be a very good job. What I'm trying to say, what's the difference in going out looking for a job with the wrong attitude and going out looking for a job with the right attitude? The right attitude is going to land you the job. The right attitude is going to lead to success. When I transitioned 30 million times, nobody would give me a job, so I went out and started my own business. You know what? 2021, you can go out and start your own business. I mean, what I'm trying to say is you don't have to be dependent upon anybody if you got a skill, and if it's something that you love and you do with your love, 99% of the time you'll be extremely successful because it'll never be at work. The things I did, people used to say, why do you work all the time? And I used to look at it like, questioning, I didn't feel like I was working. I was doing something that I really enjoyed. It was like a hobby that I was getting paid for, and it was very exhilarating. And that's all because of attitude. And you see, when I went out, the all society was against me because I was trans. But you know what? I did a really, really, really good job, and I was good at what I did. And you'd be amazed at how many people would call back and say, "I want Bonnie." And what I'm trying to say is, it was job security because I had so many people that wanted me to come out and fix their air conditioner or whatever it was. And what I'm saying is, it's because me doing a good job made me feel good about myself in a society where I was not accepted. But instead of me getting hung up on me not being accepted, I accepted myself. I loved myself, and I gave that energy back to people. And because I gave that energy off, the universe gave me all this positive that came my way as a result of the energies that I was putting out. So it's all about perspective. And if you're going to transition, it's not the end of the world, because I know too many girls and guys that have been more successful after they transition than pre-transition. Because if you're comfortable with your authentic self, going right back to what I was saying, I nurtured myself because I did a good job in a society that was hostile towards me, and it paid off. Not just money, it paid off in my self-worth and who I was, and it made me feel good without anybody trying to go out there and look for attention. And if you go out there with the perspective that you love yourself just because you're transitioning, so it's hard. Well, you know what? Life sometimes is hard. And you know what? Transitioning means this and means that. But once you get past all that crud, it just gets better and gets better and gets better. And there is no words to say how good it feels to be your authentic self and then to be successful, because it costs a lot of money to be a woman. I don't know how much it costs for a man, you know. They get out of the shower and they're done. Anyway, my point is that it's important to be able to work. It's important to keep things going. It's important to stay on track. And in the process of doing that, you can reinforce your own self-worth and feel even better about yourself than you possibly could have ever felt before. I'm done.
Absolutely. Sister, attitude is so important. It is really, really, really important. I really 100% I'm with you, because if you don't have the attitude, and that doesn't make any difference if you are transgender or not. If you don't have the attitude, you don't get it. Simple as that. And for us, it's even more important. Raji, sister.
Hi, everyone. I first want to wish everyone a serendipitous 2021. How's that for a fancy word?
Pretty good. I like it.
Yeah. So, Bonnie, whenever I hear you share that story, it warms my heart that you had it in yourself to do that. Even though the world was against you, you went within and you were able to say, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna start my own business. And I just know how hard that is, because I lived it too. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat, my journey was a rough one. Thank God we're where we are today, and there's a lot more opportunities for trans people. But I was doing it when people were very mean about it. They weren't accepting. You were like a laughing stock. And I pressed through. Even when I was a gay boy, believe it or not, this bombshell here used to be a gay boy. Well, I was always trans, but what I mean is when I was identifying, trying to find myself, I kind of identified as a feminine gay boy. or gay guy. And even then, I think because I've always had like an artistic flair to me, I never fit in. Like I never could just be plain and like fit in the crowd. I always stood out, and not even times when I wasn't even trying to, I would. I remember I was working as a bank teller. This was in the late 80s. And I was I was what they call metrosexual back then, but like metrosexual bordering on androgyny. Okay, so if just to give you a picture of that. And so I remember like my bank manager calling me in the office a number of times, and she was like, Raji, you do such a good job and I love you, but the board of directors keep complaining about you. Can you please just start dressing like an old man? Because, I was always like, like the latest styles and having my hair slicked and, that whole thing. And so, of course, when I started transitioning more as a openly transgender person on the physical, it got harder. It got a lot harder. I had all this experience. No one wanted to hire me. I'd walk into a place with my resume and, you could see the look. And, I knew when I turned my back and walked out the door, the resume was going in. They called it file 13, I think it used to be called. That meant the trash can, okay? And so the thing that saved me, I had a number of things that I feel were my saving grace. And Bonnie mentioned one of them, where like when you put out good energy and you press through and you try to stay positive and give it your all despite all the people that are trying to pull you down, the universe takes care of you. The universe finds a way to protect you and take care of you and cut out a path for you to go, even when you feel like there's no way for you to turn. And so that was a big thing for me. I've always, and not trying to brag or pat myself on the back, but I've always been a kind, loving, generous soul.
And you still are.
Thank you. That's my MO. I've been that way since a little kid. And I think sometimes I wonder, like, if it was the way I grew up, the things I went through in my family unit and in the neighborhood I grew up in, it was like always being picked on for like almost a lot of times no good reason. Like having kids ask me, what are you so happy about? You smile too damn much. Like, really? Like you would think a smile would be received, but they were like, giving me a hard time because I was smiling. So stuff like that. But I know I could probably sit here forever trying to figure it out. It was the way it was. And I grew up and I went out into the world and I experienced the things that I experienced. But what I was saying is my attitude, I think, was the thing that helped me the most because the universe gave me back, what I was giving out. And, then of course, there's always, you could have 20 enemies around you. There's always going to be that one angel at least that will be in your corner and have compassion for you. And along the way, in all the different hard situations I was in, I had that person, or sometimes a few people that felt compassion in their heart for what I was going through. And they showed me love and they showed me like some sort of acceptance. So that helped me too. And then also me being innovative, coming up with different things, in my own way to survive and make it through. Surprisingly, as hard as it was, I was most of the times able to keep a job because I was conscientious about my job. Like whatever whatever job I had, I went into that place and I gave it 100%. And no one could take that away from me. They might be laughing because I'm looking like half man, half woman, or whatever they were calling me, or a freak or whatever, but they couldn't take away the fact that I went and I was giving my job my all. And so, because of that, I managed to keep a job most of the time. I say for the majority of my lifetime. And so for today, I just want to close with encouraging trans people that are listening to this show to be innovative. I swear, I think trans people are some of the most creative people in the world. I mean, we will turn shit into gold. We'll turn trash into gold. We'll find a way to make it beautiful. So be creative, be innovative. Also, look at all your different options. The internet, like I think Ella and Bonnie were saying, with because of COVID now, a lot of jobs you can do on the internet. You don't even have to go into an office and deal with the world. And so, look into those things. And also, another good area is LGBTQ communities. Because if any place is opening up, there's more of an openness when it comes to giving trans people an opportunity. And a lot of these organizations, they get grants to, be able to hire people. And they're really trying to focus more on hiring transgender people. So that would be a good area too to look into.
How would you find something like that?
I'm sorry?
How would you find something like that?
Well, what I would do is wherever you are, wherever you're living in the world, see if you can find an LGBTQ organization first off.
Yeah, or center, yeah.
Yeah, and then once you find that, hopefully there is. I know there's some places, I don't want you folks out there that are living in some countries where I know it's really, really difficult and there's nothing like that to think I'm disregarding you all. By no means am I not. But for the ones that can find a LGBTQ center, once you find it, connect, go to a meeting, go, get into the community, get into the mix, and you will be surprised how opportunities you'll start hearing stuff like, oh, well, there's this grant that they just got, and they're looking for, a trans outreach person or whatever it might be. So I would suggest to do it that way. And in closing, I just want to say, always remember that you have a reason to be here. We were all born into this world for a divine purpose. So never lose sight of that. And I think if you can hold on to that, God, universe will see you through, and you'll make it. You'll be okay. So on that note, back to Ella.
Thank you very, very much, Raji. I think that you put up a point which is extremely important. Some of the people which look at our videos and look at our posts are not necessarily from the United States of America. And we've got people from all over the world. As a matter of fact, only about 30% are actually from the United States. So, I mean, many countries are very difficult with our transgender community and the LGBT community. There, again, it's very important, and Raj has said it, try to get in contact with other people like yourself, locally and internationally. And there is always a way out. I have been trying to give the way to many, many people here in Transgurus. They write me and I try to find solutions for them. It's not always possible, believe me. Sometimes it breaks my heart, but I think it's our duty as transgender people to help each other.
Amen.
And on that note, I give to our super guru, Jimmy.
The super guru.
She's so wonderful.
From what I heard so far this evening, this afternoon, all of us could be given that title. So, good afternoon, everyone. today we're talking about employment and opportunities for folks in the transgender community. And how I look at this, first off, some awesome things were said by everyone so far. Very enlightening. But how I look at this is, you know, I take out the transgender part of that and just replace it with human being. And so I'm a human being. I have unique talents. My expertise is in the field of arboriculture, which is the care and maintenance of trees. And just recent, I've been doing this a long time. So my customers that I've had for many years know me as who I was. And so just yesterday, I was called upon by a customer that I've been taking care of their trees for many years, but haven't seen them in maybe 10 years. And the customer, the person that called me to look at their trees, they were like, "Wow, okay, it's been a long time," and there was a sense of it's like when you see somebody that they're genuinely happy, they're genuinely focused. There was no awkward moment. It was just, I stood there, I looked the person square in the eye, and I let my energy, my aura do my talking for me. And it was a beautiful exchange. And actually last night I saw my transgender therapist for our biweekly meeting, and I mentioned this, how the acceptance, and I think it was Bonnie that said this, when we accept ourselves unconditionally. So this is one of the things I was talking about with my therapist last night. Acceptance is like the absolute minimum. So if I'm going to accept myself, that is like the minimum standard that I can live in my own skin. But now let's take it to the next level. Not only do we accept ourselves, but then we nurture ourselves. We promote ourselves. We improve ourselves. I think Bonnie said the innovation. We're constantly being innovative in ways on how to improve ourselves. So my experience with this person that hasn't seen me in a long time was extremely pleasant, because when people see someone who has evolved to a point that they're a new person, but the new person is new and improved, it kind of adds a certain energy to the component where there's almost like a magic in the air. And that is what I experienced. And I think as far as employment and opportunities, you know, everyone has this vision where you got to go fill out a resume, a job application, go meet the employer and have this question and answer period. And that's typically how it all goes. But if we enter the interview process with the thought in mind that I already have this job and I am going to be an asset to this organization, then chances are we will get that position, as opposed to entering it like, oh boy, here we go again. Yeah, I've been on 100 of these job interviews and haven't gotten one. Well, we just set ourselves up for failure. I think it was Raji was saying that the energy we put out there, we get back. So if we put out optimism and confidence and just a sense of self-worth, we'll get that back. And I think it was another thing that Raji mentioned there, that her journey was extremely challenging. You take away any part of those challenges, Raji's not sitting on this panel. It's adversity builds character. These trials and tribulations of life build character. They give us wisdom. You can learn all kinds of knowledge in school, but wisdom is learned in the school of hard knocks. So I was talking to my daughter about this the other day, that the tree trimming industry. Okay, I'm back. Okay, the tree trimming industry is extremely challenging way to make a living. employees, trees, weather, equipment, customers. The list goes on and on and on. It's extremely challenging. But having done this for so long, traveling the hard road for so long, this was something I read a while ago. The more difficult the journey, the grander the destination. So all these folks that we know of that are counselors or coaches or folks that are mentors to other people, they have usually experienced tremendous adversity in their life. And this has given us a very rare perspective in which to share to others. So the opportunities that are out there rest within ourselves. Our imagination and creativity and the imagination of a human, our opportunities are just they're limited by our imagination. So the grander our imagination, you know, I think it was Roger was talking about innovation. You know, there's always a way. There's always a way. And that's my message here today.
Jimmy, as usual, thank you very much. It's a beautiful message. I think it really always brings something very important for us. So, gurus, any other comments or finishing comments? I just hope that 2021 will bring, you know, all the wishes come true. And by the way, Jimmy told something very, very important. If your mindset is organized to get, you get. If your mindset is organized to excuses, you don't get.
Yeah, I wanted to also touch on that too. What Jimmy had said about basically, you know, your mindset and creating the life that you want, the law of attraction type thing. And when Jimmy said about, you know, going in knowing that you're going to get the job, you're going to be an asset to the job. Also, in that same mindset, know that the job is going to be an asset to your life because it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. You're bringing your talents to the job, and the job needs to be also giving back not just money, but, you know, in your whole, I would say, essence of work experience there. So yeah, so it's a two-way street, and always keep that in mind. Yeah, you're gonna get the job, you're gonna bring all that you can bring to the job, and the job is gonna also give you all that you want from it.
I think it's very important to say, because, you know, sometimes you have a job, but you don't really think it's a job. It's like, it's your hobby, you know? And that's
even better. That's even better, yeah.
But when you go apply for the job, subconsciously, if you believe in yourself and you believe that you're an asset and you believe that you have something that you're bringing to the table, that's conveyed subconsciously without even saying words. The person that you're interviewing with, they will pick up on your energies without you even having to say, oh, I want this job, I love this job. Just by you going in there and believing in yourself. That's what we talk about. If you love yourself, other people will love you. If you like yourself, on and on. What I'm saying, but if you go in there with confidence and a belief, whether you say it or not, the words that come out of your mouth, how you say it, the way you say it, will be conveyed.
Absolutely, absolutely. Believe in yourself, believe in what you're doing, and, you know, not only do this, believe in yourself, but show that you believe in yourself.
And don't forget to try something different. I never thought I could go platinum blonde. I always did the honey blonde. But you know what? I'm getting a lot of compliments because I dared to do something different.
And I love it. It's beautiful.
I was thinking of making my hair pink. Huh? What do you think?
Ooh, pretty good thing, honey.
Okay, with this tone, thank you for watching Transgurus. We hope that we give you something and that you learn something from us, because this is our goal. And be happy. Enjoy your life. and be yourself, because that is the most important thing in the world.
Namaste.
Namaste. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.